Hey guys, welcome back to another video. This will be the third episode and I guess like a little mini series of how I'm ranking my keepers. I've done the premium option, so I did a forwards premiums and then a backs premiums in the last two videos. If you haven't checked those out, give that a watch. This one we're assessing keepers slash borderline keepers. So these guys are a couple of tiers below those premiums, obviously. For the most part, I would recommend bringing in the premiums if you can, but not everyone's going to have the money available. If your team value is struggling a little bit, you are going to have to compromise in some positions. So yeah, I've done the rankings for them. It did take a little bit longer than I projected, so I won't have everyone. I've got about 25 players I'm going to talk about here. I've got every position apart from a hooker because there's no real borderline keepers apart from maybe Kurt Donahue, but it didn't make sense to have him on his own, I guess. But yeah, if you like Kurt Donahue, he's okay. I'd still go up to a Connor Watson or a Connor Watson or Grant, just because they're cheap enough where you should be able to get up to them pretty comfortably. I guess Cook is also in that category, but yeah, there's no hookers essentially. Real quick before I get into it, thank you heaps for 500 subs. You guys smashed it out. It was actually in the video at the time I was filming it. We hit it last video, so yeah, thanks heaps for all the support, guys. You guys have shown immense love on this channel, and yeah, you guys are awesome. The support has been unreal. One of the first episode in this series has like 1,400 views now, which is crazy. It's by far my most. So yeah, you guys seem to like this, so I'll get cracking. In terms of my trades, I don't really know what I'm doing yet. I was waiting for Origin to be over, see how guys are pulled up. We'll probably hear reports before Friday's games kick off, but I'll quickly show you what I've got at the moment. But these are far from locked in. Garrick's probably coming out of my team. I guess you can't really see that. I do want Herbie. He plays in the first game. I'm probably just going to do that. I do want Cleary, but we'll see. He still didn't goal kick last night, so I think he's still worth it, even if he doesn't goal kick, just because I'll want him next week anyway, but we'll see if he even plays. Then Cook to Watson. I think it's just the week to get Watson because he has, like a 40 break even, but yeah, again, I'll see. But I do kind of want Watson because he can cover in mid in case like Haas is missing or something. Actually, that's not even true because he'll just be replacing there. Anyway, I'll figure that out. But yeah, I'll just get into the normal video now. So yeah, we'll start off with our mid options. AFB takes the cake by a country mile here. I didn't actually expect him to be this high in my projections. I probably would have bought him in if I had him ranked this high, but the minutes were really the big thing. I'll talk about all these guys one on one. I'm not going to explain it because you've probably seen one of the last two videos, but yeah, it's the exact same format. So yeah, there's about 4 borderline keepers, but we have so many premiums, right? Like in my team alone, we've got Terrell May, Haas, Tarpanay, I guess Watson could cover there, Kaloamatangi. So that's a lot of premiums already. So you'd probably only want one max of these guys. And even then, I probably won't get any of these guys in. So you've also got like Tino, Isaiah Yeo as tiers above this. So in my eyes, it's like Terrell May and Haas as tier 1 in their own category. Then you've got Kaloamatangi, Couchman, when he's healthy, and Yeo. And then it goes down to like the high 50s, like low 60s, I guess, in like your AFBs, Tarpanays, stuff like that. So yeah, they're all significantly below those top guns, but I think there's still merit in having one if you are short on cash. But yeah, AFB by far the best here. Like blows these guys away, and he probably could be a premium option based on that projection, but it's a lot to do with his minutes, right? So I've actually written down how I got to these projections now in this video because the last couple I was sort of making up on the spot. Even though I had done the research, I just hadn't written it down, so I had to try and remember, and it's very hard when you have like 25 guys you're assessing. But he hasn't played below 50 minutes in 7 straight games, which is very exciting. That was really the only thing turning me off him in the bye period. And when he plays 50 plus minutes, he averages 60.8, and he's done that the last 3 years. So 60 in 62 minutes last year, and then 58.7 in 62.9 minutes. I don't actually think he'll play under 60 minutes again. You saw last year, like those minutes were huge at the back end of the season, and the Sharks aren't in a position where they can rest their guys. So if they have a big lead, like against the Titans or Cowboys or something like that, then potentially he gets a lower minute game. But yeah, I actually don't think he plays below 50 minutes all season. He probably plays a couple where he's playing 65, 70 minutes. So that should round out to about 60.3. So I actually didn't change any of his stats. I just gave him a 60-point average. So yeah, pretty simple one there. If he gets the minutes, he'll average close to there. If he doesn't, he won't. And I project his minutes will be strong. So yeah, I'm totally fine with that projection there. And yeah, absolutely clear of these guys for sure. McInnes, he was up for debate, like in the buy rounds if he went AFB or McInnes. I did say AFB had the higher upside, whereas McInnes was probably the safer pick. I think that was pretty standard across everyone's thought process. But yeah, AFB has blown him out the water so far, and I believe he will continue to. I've tweaked McInnes slightly. I sort of use like the 50 to 70 minute block for him to get his point per minute, because that's roughly where he plays. He's probably going to play all of those games within that block. And he has a 0.91 points per minute, which is a little bit lower than in previous seasons. So I'm just checking my notes. So yeah, like 0.96, 1.1, and then yeah, it goes lower, like back to this season, like 3-4 years ago. But the more recent data is stronger than this season. So yeah, I gave him a 0.02 boost up to 0.93, but then his minutes a little bit lower at minus 2.1 minutes, just because yeah, he's been playing lower minutes the last couple of seasons. And yeah, he's not getting those 57 minutes lately. So he had that one game where he played extra minutes because there were injuries in the pack, and he had like a 75-minute game around that mark as well. But they were both injury-affected games. So sure, there might be games where there are injuries, but I expect it to round out about the 55 mark or so. So that gives him a 52.6 projection, which is very similar to where he's averaging for the season anyway. They both got one bye remaining as well, whereas Max King is out of byes, which is better for him, but he still has to rank below these guys. He's a lot more expensive than McInnes, so even though I project him to score higher and he doesn't have a bye, that 60k price difference is huge, because if you're paying 700k for Max King, you're just going to get a Yo anyway, or you just get like a Tino, Carrigan, something like that. Like he's priced at almost a premium, so you may as well get a premium for that price anyway. So yeah, he's third on this list. Oh, I just got rid of him. Classic me. Let me get that back. But how did I rank him? Yeah, actually, he said his base stats were all going to be the same, which is fine. The only thing I dropped off for him are the tries and line breaks. So he's not a try scorer. It was like a 70-game drought or something. He hasn't scored for the last 2 seasons, last 3 seasons, 4, and then he scored 1 in 2019. So yeah, like, more than likely he's not going to score another try for the rest of the season. So I gave him negative 0.2 and negative 0.2 in line breaks as well, because his only line breaks have been from the tries. So I think that's fair enough. It drops him down to a 53.8 average with everything else staying the same. So I think that is totally fine to assess him like that. And then the horse is last on my list. So he has 2 buys remaining, but one of them is this round. So I've sort of categorized that as 1 buy, because yeah, like you're not, if you're bringing him in, you'll wait a week to get him anyway. He is a little bit more expensive. He's more expensive than McInnes, cheaper than King, but he's also projected to be worse than King as well, and has the bye. So yeah, he's last on this list. I did trade him around round 10, 11, round 12, I think it was, just before the bye period. A lot of people did trade him. Some people kept him, and he has been great. Those minutes seem real now. He's getting high 50s, which is all I wanted to see from him. And he usually goes at about a point a minute. So if he's getting 59, 58 minutes every week, then yeah, he could project as a very high 50s guy. But I just don't see that happening every single week. And they do have the buys as well. But the only thing I downgraded him was on his points per minute. I think everything else can stay the same, but it's been 3 years since he's had a 1 point per minute. And yeah, usually if we see guys have stronger minutes, which he has this season, they usually do drop a bit. Like you saw it drop to 0.9 when he played 61 minutes. Then he played less minutes last year and still had a lower points per minute. So I gave him a 0.03 drop to 0.98, which is fair enough, I think. And that's a 51.8 average. So yeah, if you're bringing in a mid, there's so many options available that are going to average high 50s, low 60s, even higher. So there's not much room for him as a keeper in your team. But I thought he's still worth talking about because he's 50 plus. Yeah, that's it from mids. We'll move on to edge. So yeah, KPP actually takes this one out. I didn't love him as an option just because we had so many edges already and a lot of knights back in the day as well. But yeah, I think some people do have him. He's actually like 30% owned, I think, which is pretty crazy. But yeah, he should still project as a keeper at 54.8 points. I wouldn't be doing anything with him there. Yeah, like you can see most of these guys are low 50s or even worse. So we do have strong keepers like Dylan Lucas, Furmore, who else? Kaloa Matangi. God, can't think off the top of my head. But yeah, there's a lot of keepers. So I won't be having any of these guys personally, but I have had Aitken, Hosking and Duncan in my team at various stages over the last month or so. So yeah, they're all going to be coming out of my team because I think there's stronger guys you can get an edge, but I think there is some merit to having them if you are low on trades. And I certainly wouldn't be trading out a KPP. Probably wouldn't be bringing him in, but he does project as the highest on this list. We did see with the premium edges, I think 4 out of 5 didn't have a buy as well, whereas 4 out of 5 do in this option. So yeah, I'd definitely be looking to go up to the premiums if you haven't already, and Preston as well is one of the main names that I forgot. But yeah, let's move over. And Eli Katoa, that was shocking. My memory sucks sometimes. But yeah, KPP, what have I given him here? I gave him -2 tackles and a plus 0.9 in tackle breaks, so plus 1.8, I guess. So it projects him very similar to where he has been. I just think his tackles are a lot higher than they have been previously. And he's only got 2 seasons of data as well. So yeah, maybe he's better, but a 5.2 increase is pretty hefty. He did a lot of that work earlier in the season as well, and then it's sort of regressing now. Obviously a 46 and 47 in there. So yeah, he may keep up with the 40 average, but I project him -2. But his run meters are actually stronger than last year, but his tackle breaks are down by 0.8. And that doesn't really make sense to me, so I've given him plus 0.9. So his run meters are slightly above last year, so I've put his tackle breaks slightly above last year. Everything else I've kept relatively the same. So yeah, he only goes down 0.2 in my books, but that is still comfortably the best. Tallis Duncan, so yeah, a lot of people have him in their team still. I'm trading him out this week just because there's better options on the board in my opinion. And we don't know what he's going to be. Like, he's only had 10, 15 games of historical data in the second row. And yeah, he's been awesome lately, but last year he wasn't that great. Like, he averaged 47, which is good for where he was priced at, because I got him at 400k, but is now priced at 50. And yeah, he averaged 47 in 5 games last year, 54 in, he gets played 1 game of centre. Yeah, 54 this year, but that includes a 96 with 2 tries, where that's not realistic to continue. Sorry. What I do think he will increase is his tackle breaks to plus 0.9, because he's running the same and is getting 0.9 less this year. And he has had a lot of tackle breaks recently, whereas the first couple of weeks he didn't. So yeah, I think that could get up to 3. I gave him plus 1 missed tackle because he had 4 last year. And yeah, it's a small sample size, so it is hard to gauge. But he hasn't had one in the last 2 weeks, but before that he was missing heaps. So yeah, giving him plus 1 tackle breaks, missed tackle, so down to 3. And minus 0.11 in try saves. So he's got 0.3 this year, which is very high. It's like 2 out of 2 out of 8 games. So it's actually 0.25. So yeah, I gave him 1, projected to get 1 for the rest of the season, which I think is fair enough. One of these was, I think he chased someone down and then got sim bin for it. So that's like a rare thing to happen. I can't remember the first one, but second rows don't really get too many tackle breaks. So yeah, I do think that is realistic to go down. So yeah, he's averaging 54.3, but I project that to finish at 53.6 for the year, which is still well above last year. It's still slightly above where he's priced at. So yeah, you could absolutely keep him, but he's on a bye this week. He has another bye later in the season. So I think now's the time to get off him, even though he has a low break even. I'm not too worried about cash generation. So yeah, I'm happy to get off him this week, but I understand if you do want to keep him. Viliami Kikau is a tough one to project, I'll be honest. So he's averaging 53.9 this year. Do I trust it? Yes and no. Like, there's reasonable data to suggest why he's averaging that high. Like the the offloads are huge lately, and that significantly boosts anyone's scores because you get 4 for an offload to hand. So yeah, in that aspect, it does make sense, but he's never averaged this high. He's had periods where he has been a keeper and periods where he hasn't been, but like 38.9 last year, 37 the year before, 45. Like he's never averaged close to 50 or 50, well and truly 50 plus. So, and it's the same role as he has been the last couple of years. So yeah, I think it's real, like that he will massively increase on his season from last year, but I don't think he can keep up this height of 53.9. I've given him minus 0.2 in try assists because he hasn't had one in like almost 2 months. I gave him minus 1 tackles because he's like he averaged 28.3 in a small sample size there, 25, 21, and then last year it was 22. So that's massively increased. I don't necessarily think that continues, but only minus 1, plus 1.5 in missed tackles. So he's averaging 5 more tackles this year, but 2.5 less missed tackles, and that's just not sustainable. He's always been a 3.54 missed tackle guy, and this year it's 2.2. So I can't see how that's changed too much. So yeah, I'm giving him that plus 1.5 missed tackles up to 3.7. Maybe a little bit harsh because the Bulldogs are better defensively this year. Like they've clearly bought in to defense, but he's one of those that puts his hand out and gets those missed tackles, even though he's not necessarily trying to make a tackle. So yeah, I do think that digresses a little bit, but then plus 1 in line breaks. So he's only 0.2 this year. It was 0.5, none that year, 0.4. So yeah, I do expect that to increase slightly. The tries probably stay the same. So yeah, all in all, that gives him a 49.3 projection, but no buys left as well. So he also does have upside, like he has been averaging 54 for the year. So if you expect that to continue, I think he's a good option, especially with no buys, like because all the other players on this list do. But yeah, in my opinion, I wouldn't be buying him. He's very expensive priced at 50, and I project him to score about there. So I think there's better value on the board in edge. But yeah, I know a lot of you guys do like him, and he does have upside, which is very important in a small sample size for the rest of the season. Hosking was kind of tough to project. He's been awesome the last 2 weeks, but was pretty shit when we all had him. But he's got so much data, averaging like mid-50s. The problem with him is Nicholson's back at any stage. Well, not any stage, but he's back at some stage towards the end of the season, like round 24, 25, something like that. I'll be honest, I didn't check when his updated due time is, but for that reason, I never considered him a keeper, even if he was averaging high 50s, because at some stage we would have had to trade him out. I didn't factor that into his points, but it's a consideration as well. So, yeah, he's tough to project mainly because of his minutes. So, let's go to second row. What have I given him? I gave him minus 4 minutes. So, he usually plays that 68 to 70 minute mark. He's played a month of 80 minutes, and I just don't think that continues. Hudson Young missed a game and then 2 games for Origin as well. So he missed 18 for Origin, 17 for just rest, 16 he was backing up, and 14, can't remember what happened there. But yeah, like he's not going to play 80 every week. Simi Sasangi will be back on the bench now, who eats into his minutes for about 10. And yeah, like he has been great. Maybe Hudson Young gets a rest this week, but in the long term, Hosking is going to go back to that 70-minute role. So I gave him minus 4 minutes and then plus 1 tackle break. So yeah, I took out his tackle breaks and then calculated his points per minute, times it by 70, and then added on the tackle breaks of 2, because he's always averaged about that, like 2.5, 2.1, 4, 2, and that's all. Some of those were in lower minutes, and he's only averaging 1 this year. So yeah, I do expect that to increase. But overall, I have him at a 51.5 points. So yeah, that is higher than someone like a Kikau, and is cheaper, but he has those 2 buys, including the one this week. And Nicholson is probably back at the end of the season, so who knows who misses out, like Hosking. Maybe Nicholson comes onto the bench and plays a bit of mid, but I'm sure he goes onto the edge at some stage, and maybe that pushes Hosking's minutes down to 65, 60, even if he is starting. So, yeah, I wouldn't be bringing in Hosking now. If you have him, just ride the wave because he is going awesome. But, yeah, at this stage, I wouldn't be bringing him in personally. Then Ewan Aitken. This one's tough. I think I didn't even write him down, did I? Oh, yeah, I did. So we don't know how long he's out for. That's why a lot of people have traded him, but also they have 2 buys, and he hasn't been amazing lately, and he's been moving to centre. So how I projected him was thinking he's healthy, because we haven't heard an update from the Rabbitohs at this stage as far as I'm aware. So assuming he's back after the bye, I projected him at 2 games in the centres at 37 points per game, and then 5 games in the second row at 55 points per game. So yeah, we don't know where he's going to line up, but it's clear when they have an injury, he's the first one to move to centre. And I don't like playing Lewis Dodd. Like, they've shuffled 3-4 positions the last couple of weeks just to get Dodd out of the team, like moving Tallis Duncan to centre and stuff like that. It's weird. I don't get it. Like, Lewis Dodd was so expensive. I don't know. Wayne Bennett didn't have to do with that, but it seems weird you wouldn't give the bloke a chance, especially when you have to shuffle so much in your team. But yeah, I think it's reasonable to expect Ewan Aitken plays 2 games at centre throughout the season. And that gives him a 49.9 points average. Again, the swing's going to be mighty because he might score a double at centre. He might score 20. So you don't know what he's going to score there. But based on his historical data of 37, I've given him that. And then, yeah, 49.9 points. He is one of the cheapest on this list, but again, has the 2 buys. He has an injury cloud. So yeah, I certainly wouldn't be looking to pick him up. But if you have him, I guess you can ride it out after the buy. But I think he's a perfectly good trade candidate as well. Moving on to the halves. And yeah, like, some of these guys are hard to project, but I also wanted to put someone like a Savala in there just because a lot of people own him. So I think it's good to project where he's going to score as well against these guys to work out whether you should keep him. The only guy I omitted from this list was Kurt Donahue. I wanted to include him, but he's only played 4 games in the lock role. 2 of those he moved positions mid-game. So he moved to centre for a half, and then he moved to 5/8 for 30, 40 minutes. I can't remember how long it was, but when Cody Nickering went down. So he doesn't really have a base for me to project, and I don't want to just make something up where it could be completely wrong. So yeah, I don't know where to project him. He'd probably rank about 3rd or 4th on this list, I would imagine. But yeah, I just didn't have a base to project him, so I didn't add him. Nicho Hynes does take this one out, which, yeah, I traded him out because I didn't view him as an end-of-season keeper for me, but also because he was the only guy I could trade him out. I didn't really want to. But yeah, he's the best of the keepers / borderline keepers in my eyes. He's the second cheapest on this list behind Savala, who, as you can see, is not a keeper in my eyes. And yeah, his points projection is the highest. We've obviously seen a very big sample size where he is a lot better than what he has been this year, but it's pretty clear he might not get back to that stage, get back to those heights, I guess. So where I've ranked him this year, I gave him, let's have a look. I gave him plus 0.2 goal kicks because, yeah, I do think he missed 1 game at the start of the season where he didn't take them, and every season but prior to this, he's averaged more than that. So yeah, the Sharks aren't as good, but I do expect that to increase slightly. I gave him negative 0.2 missed tackles, so down to 2, just 2, because he's averaging less tackles than last year and the same amount of missed tackles, so I do expect that to go down slightly. Plus 1.5 kick metre points, so about plus 45 kick metres. We've seen him take over from Trindle a little bit more over the last couple of weeks. He's always kicked more than this, but he's obviously not getting back to 400 unless Trindle gets injured, but I think, yeah, he should increase a little bit. Plus 0.3 tackle breaks, so yeah, that's very low compared to historical data. And then plus 0.3 errors. So he's only getting 0.7 this year, where it's always been 1.5-ish, but he's carrying the ball less. So I don't expect it to get as high as it has in previous seasons, but still an increase on where it has been. So all in all, that gives him a 53.9 point projection, but he's also priced at 44, which is just crazy. So yeah, if I had projected him at 54 when I was trading him out, I don't know whether I would have done it, but my hands were sort of tied based on the trades I wanted to make. So yeah, I think he's a perfectly good trade-in candidate. I can't remember where I projected all the halves, but I think this is around the same mark as most of them and a lot cheaper for the premium options. So yeah, I think you can trade him in. Just be cautious. He does have a buy at some stage. It's around 25. So yeah, that's a long while away. So yeah, I think he's a good trade-in candidate. Adam Reynolds is second on this list. And yeah, I didn't change too much for him. Let's get this up. I gave him -2 tackles. He does have a few injuries in his bag, obviously. He's been relatively healthy this season, but yeah, there's always an injury risk. But His tackles are 20.8 this season, mainly carried by that 38 tackle performance, which is never going to happen again. But yeah, he's never been more than a mid-teens guy. So -2 tackles there, plus 0.2 turnovers because he only had 0.3 this year, 0.8 last year, 0.5, 0.4. It's the lowest it's ever been, and he's tackling more this year. So that doesn't make sense to me. So I do increase that. And then plus 0.3 goal kicks as well. So 3.7, it's always been in the mid-4s with the Broncos. So, low 4s. So yeah, I do expect that to increase slightly. And that gets them up to 53.4. So actually, no, that's not even true because... No, it is true. Yeah, never mind. 53.4. DCE... and Reynolds has a buy in round 20 as well, by the way. So if you have someone like Haas and maybe aiming for Carrigan as well, it does degrade him a little bit, but that's not a consideration in here because I don't know everyone's team construction. DCE, he was pretty easy to project in my eyes. He's got the one buy this week, but yeah, if you bring him in, it's after this week. But yeah, I wouldn't be bringing him in. The only thing I gave him was a minus 0.15 offload to hand. So yeah, it's 0.9 this year, but it's never been that high. 0.5, 0.9. Maybe it has been actually. Maybe that's a bit harsh. Maybe that was a bit harsh. I think I only looked at last season, but still, that's why I project him at 50.3. The rest of it stayed the same in my eyes. But yeah, I don't think... if you're going to pay that much, I'd go Nico Hines as well. And you are banking on upside here as well. And Hines' upside is a lot heavier than Cherry Evans, in my opinion. Money Munster. So, hope he's doing all right. It was a huge effort to back up last night after his dad passed away. I don't know if it was an unexpected passing or, it was out of the blue. I think it was out of the blue from what I've seen. So, yeah, really sad. Huge effort to back up. I don't know if he backs up for the Storm this week. I'd probably like to see him take a little bit of a rest just to get himself right mentally. I know he's had some challenges in the past, with drinking and stuff like that. So, yeah, he's got the support around him, which is good, but must be tough. But in terms of fantasy, where have I got him? I had this guy to start the season, and he was kind of fun to have. He scores in so many different ways, but he's not a keeper in my eyes. I gave him -1 tackle because it's a little bit higher than it has been recently, a lot higher than previously, but he has had a few fullback games in there as well. -1 tackle and then -0.2 missed tackles, so that's actually plus. So down to 3.4 because, if I project him to make make less tackles, I also project his missed tackles to go down. So that's all I gave him to change things up, and that goes down to a 48. So, yeah, you do want a 50-plus average in your halves because there's so many strong candidates there, especially when you got guys cheaper on the board. So, yeah, he couldn't go anywhere higher than second last, in my opinion. He's almost the most expensive in this list as well. So, yeah, clear trade-out candidate if you still have him. There's not many of you. I held on to him way too long for how long I would have liked to, but he was doing a good job. I got that 72 and 76, which is cool. So, yeah, he's been fine, but it's time to move on, in my opinion. Then Hugo Savala. So, yeah, clearly below these guys in terms of his projections. He's not averaging 38.5 at half. He obviously started a few games on the bench. He's averaging 48.1. I don't see that continuing. Sam Walker is a more dominant kicker than Sandon Smith, and he's in the team this week. Sandon Smith's down to New South Wales Cup, so he might come back on the bench at some stage, but we don't know. Their team construction was so weird when Walker was meant to be back a couple of weeks ago. I think they had Connor Watson starting. I think they had Zach Tokaclay, Sandon Smith, and Iolu or whatever on the bench, which made no sense. So they've cleaned that up this week, but we'll see what happens moving forward. But yeah, I don't think he goal kicks. He might, but I projected that to go down to 0. If he goal kicks, that's awesome, but I do expect Sam Walker to probably take those. He's only coming back from a thumb injury as his most recent one, so yeah, I would expect him to kick. I expect him to lose 90 metres because Sandon Smith kicked about 100, 150 less than Sam Walker, but Savala is a good kicker, so I expect that to still sit around the 350 mark, but that could also deteriorate well below that. But then he might get goal kicking, so we'll see what happens there. And then plus 0.3 line break assists. He's only had 1 all year, which is pretty crazy considering he's getting 0.6 try assists. I know a lot of them are to Daniel Tupou with his kicks on the wing, but yeah, like as a halfback, the dominant halfback previously with Sandon Smith in the team, like he should have more than 0.1. So yeah, I expect that to get up to about 0.4, which is pretty standard. And that all in all, that leaves him at 44.5. So I think that's reasonable. If he gets goal kicks, obviously that moves up to about 50, where it's great, but I just don't project him to get them. Moving on to centre. So yeah, this is a tough one. Like around 50 is pretty good for centres usually, but you got Herbie, Drinkwater, Dylan Lucas. There's a lot of options this year. But I think there is some merit to going a little bit cheaper in this position if you can, but I don't know if I love these guys. Nwanga Nitawase is very hard to project, I'll be honest. Like we don't have any historical data. I've done it as if he's going to be a winger for the rest of the season. So obviously, I don't think Billy Smith is playing this week, but he should be back short term anyway. They got Toya back from Origin duty. So yeah, I think Nwanga Nitawase does stay on the wing, and that's where I've projected him. He's going crazy this year. Like, he's averaging 1.6 tries on the wing, 1.6 line breaks. I can't see that continuing, right? Like, that's ridiculous. He's a freak, but 1.6 is ridiculous. So I've gone minus 0.6 tries and line breaks, so both down to 1, which I think is still fair enough. Like to average 1 a game is pretty ridiculous anyway. I gave him plus 0.4 tackle breaks just because he's had a few more lately. And yeah, I just do think that increases. Plus 0.4 offloads because, yeah, 1.6 doesn't seem like enough for him. He seems to get them all the time. And plus 0.15 try assists. So where is it? He's had 0 for the year, but I do expect that to increase. And 0.15 is high for a winger, but that's 1 for the rest of the season. So yeah, I do think that's fair enough. And then the rest I sort of kept the same, but all in all, that gives him down to a 49.9. He's averaging 54.4 on the wing, so I think that's fair enough. If I had him at 50, maybe I would have got him in last week, but yeah, I think there's better options in both centre and winger fullback, and I just wanted the money. So yeah, his upside is crazy, so you can't measure that on this list. Like, it's hard to do, but yeah, you want to take those high upside swings, and he could obviously be the highest upside guy in centres in general, apart from Herbie probably. Lomax, so yeah, I didn't change too much here, I don't believe. What did I do? So yeah, he's obviously on the wing now. He played a lot of centre earlier in the year, but he's definitely a winger. So he's averaging 48.4 on the wing. I gave him minus 20 metres, so minus 2 points there. Plus 0.6 tackle breaks. Oh yeah, also, because like in his first game coming back, he got 271 metres. Like, he was clearly motivated, but the rest have been about that 190 mark, and that's still higher than it was last year. So yeah, minus 20 metres plus 0.6 tackle breaks, because that's his run meters are higher, but his tackle breaks are lower, so that doesn't make sense. Plus 0.1 turnover tackles, because he's only had 1 for the year, and wingers do seem to get a lot, and 0.2 is a bit low for him, because he's quite a good defensive winger, like a bigger frame, so he can take those guys into touch. And then 0.1 try saves as well. So 0.3 last year and none this year. So all he has to do is get 1 for the rest of the season, and that should increase his average a little bit. And all in all, that gets him up to a 48.5. So yeah, there were a few downgrades and upgrades there, but it rounds out to be about the same. Val Holmes. So yeah, I kind of wanted to include this guy. I know he's not popular, but yeah, he's averaging 50, so he has to be on this list. Averaging 50.3, I gave him nothing really, plus 0.2 missed tackles, because it's a bit lower than it has been previously. So yeah, gave him that, because his tackle breaks are, his tackles are a little bit higher and his tackle breaks are lower. So that doesn't make sense, but the rest of it does. I don't think you should bring him in. Like, where have I done? Like, he's averaging more than Nwanga Nitawase in my projections, and he's cheaper. And 0 buys as well, but yeah, the upside of Nwanga Nitawase is much stronger, so you sort of have to bank on that. Like, even though it's not necessarily built into the list, I think, yeah, psychologically, and with such a small sample size, you have to factor that in, so that's why he's on top of the list, and Holmes is 3rd. Kartonga, so he's been good in second row. I know everyone under the sun has traded him, including myself, but yeah, like, he has actually been really strong lately, averaging 47.5 on the edge. I gave him +1 tackle because, yeah, he did play a couple of games where it was like that 67-minute game, 66. So yeah, I do expect those minutes to slightly increase. So +1 tackle, plus 0.2 tackle breaks, just because, yeah, he's getting more lately. He's running the ball a lot more than he was in those earlier stints. And plus 0.1 tries. So yeah, I do expect him to get at least 1 or 2 before the end of the season. He is a good ball running half. He chases kicks. So yeah, I do expect that to increase. And all in all, that gets him to a 47.4. So about where he's averaging for the season in the second row, but higher than where his current average is. Ruben Garrick. So he's the last one on this list. I do expect him to play wing from here on out. And yeah, he's not as good being on the wing as centre, even though he has been great the last couple of weeks. The centre wing, there we go. Yeah, he scored 3 tries, which is not going to continue. So I gave him a lot of things. Minus 0.6 tries, so down to 0.9, which is quite in line with where he did in 2023, 0.7. But he's got Tommy Turbo swinging around to that left, playing that sweeping fullback role. So yeah, I expect Garrick to increase it slightly. But 0.6 tries, -1 line break, down to 1, which is pretty much in line with his tries. -1 tackle, because that's high for a winger, and especially his previous data. Plus 0.3 missed tackles, so he's only had 0.5, but I do expect that to increase about to 0.8. Plus 0.2 turnovers, so he hasn't had one this year, but average 0.2 the last time he played there, and plus 0.1 try saves. So just getting 1 for the rest of the season is fair enough, and that gives him a 41.9 projection. So yeah, I don't see him as a keeper. That's why I'm trading him out, and he's not even close to these guys, and not even close to winger fullback either. Plus has a bye this week, so yeah, pretty comfortable trade out in my eyes. He's very expensive as well. He's priced at 44. Not that expensive, I guess, but still higher than where I project him for the season. So he's out of my team. I need to take a breath. I don't know why I'm so out of breath doing this, but there's a lot of things to talk about, I guess. Yeah, so I've included Nwangani-Tuwase, Lomax, and Garrick on this list as well, because I do like comparing them to other positions. The only one I haven't talked about here is Tommy Turbo, because, again, same as Kurt Donahue, I don't know where to project him. He hasn't played a lot of centre. He's playing a centre, winger fullback, sweeping role. So, yeah, he's had no data at centre before apart from Origin, and that's very tough to compare to. So I do think he's a borderline keeper. He's also a lot cheaper than these guys. So, yeah, he's definitely worth considering bringing in if you haven't already. He's already pretty highly owned, but I just couldn't give him a reasonable projection. So it seemed unfair. Obviously, he has a high injury risk. I probably should have bought him in instead of Ethan King last week, but yeah, I mean, whatever. It can't be done. I just do think he is going to be a trade out at some point, whether that's not quite being a keeper or getting injured. So I didn't want to waste another trade on him. Well, time will tell if it's the right decision, but yeah, he'd probably be pretty high on this list, probably second or third, if not first actually, because he's so cheap. But Dylan Edwards is the highest on this list for me. I projected him a bit lower than where he has been historically as well, just because, yeah, I don't, like, it's tough. Historical data does mean a lot, but you can't just, like, put all their stats back to where they have been previously when they're not showing that this year. I did change a lot, though. I think. Where is he? No, I didn't actually change a lot. I gave him plus 0.6 tackle breaks because that's lower than it has been in previous seasons. He's averaging 5.4 this year, 6.5 the previous year, 6.1, 4.5, which is a while ago. But it's always around that 6 mark. So, yeah, I expect that to increase. And then 0.2 tries as well. So all he has to do is score 2 tries, I think. Maybe 3 tries for the rest of the season, and he gets up to that mark. So I think that's totally fine. Averaging 0.6, 0.5, 0.4, and this year he's only scored 1. So that should increase. I don't expect his line breaks to increase necessarily because it's already 0.4, and that's pretty in line with where it has been previously. So, yeah, a slight boost, but obviously he has that upside as well. Even if he averages, what have I done, like 48.7, that's lower than it was last year and about the same as previous years. So time will tell. He's priced at 40. I do think he's a good buy based on the fact he's a 48.7 projection, which is almost 10 points higher, and he does have that upside. He might kick this week as well with Cleary out. I didn't change anything. I think he's had 1 kick this year, like 0.2. So I just left that where it is because he might kick this week and then not again, but he might not even kick this week. He might kick a couple of weeks. So I didn't base that into projections because it's so hard to assess at the moment. Yeah, Nwangani Tawase is second on this list. He's a lot more expensive, but I do expect him to average higher. So yeah, he couldn't be anywhere lower than second for me. And also his upside is a lot higher. Like you see someone like Hamaso is the same price and higher in projections. Obviously he has a buy, but his upside isn't as high as Nwangani Tawase. So I said it wasn't built into this list. It clearly is actually based on where I've ranked them, but a lot of these guys were so close. Anyway, Reece Walsh. So yeah, I've changed a lot for him. Obviously he's having a very down season. Oh, where am I going? Over 70 minutes. So yeah, he's averaging 37.2. In those big minutes, he actually hasn't played a game where he's had an injury, but one of these games, I think round 7, he was injured the whole game, injured it in the second minute or something, and then played on. He's also had a -1 in his score as well, so those things are going to affect him, even though he played the full 80. I've given him plus 30 run meters, so plus 3 points, plus 2.2 tackle breaks, because he's always averaged about the 5 mark, and 2.7 is crazy low. Plus 0.2 tries, because 0.5 is low as well. He averaged 1.1 last year, which won't continue most likely, but it has to be better than 0.5, right? Minus 0.5 goal kicks, because he won't kick again, you wouldn't think. Plus 0.5 line breaks, because that's 0.3 and it was 1 last year. Yep. Minus 1.2 tackles, because that's a lot higher than previous. It could even be worse than that, to be honest. And then plus 1 kick meter point, so I do expect that to get up to about the 120 mark. So all in all, that gives him a 47-point projection, but is very cheap as well. Does have a buy left, so yeah, I'd prefer Edwards over him, I do believe, but the same amount of upside as well. Lomax is 4th on this list, Pappy 5th. So yeah, I didn't change the world here. I just gave him plus 0.4 tackle breaks, which is fair enough. Obviously, he doesn't have a bye, but with all the Storm boys, a whole spine's probably going to miss a game at some stage, like in different games. I would expect it to be Munster this week, maybe Pappy, Eli Katoa, Hughes, maybe in the easier games, or Hughes and Pappy also get the rest at the end of the games if they're blowing teams out. So, yeah, I just gave him plus 0.4 tackle breaks, and that was about it. So just below a 50, but very cheap as well, priced at 44. Then Hamaso is the last one I'll assess. So what have I done here? I gave him, let's get a fullback. I gave him 0.15 tries because, it's very high for a fullback to be averaging 1.1. Plus 0, and he hasn't done that really before. Plus 0.2 line breaks because you're only averaging 0.4 even with 1.1 tries. Like I know a lot of them are runaway tries, but I do expect that to increase slightly. It should get up to 1.4 missed tackles because that's in line with where it has been previously. And then plus 1 run meter point, so up to 185 because, he is running the ball a lot more lately, and I just expect that to increase. So, maybe a bit harsh having him 6th on this list, but he's the most expensive, and I think there's a lot more value in other guys who should average around the same, like Walsh and Edwards. So, I wouldn't go up to 660k for him. I'd just much rather get a premium or one of these cheaper borderline keepers. And then Garrick, far and away the worst as well. Just wanted to include him because he's so popular. And that's about it. I guess I'll quickly go into the holds or sells. I'm not going to go into these too highly, but I think Jazz Tamunga sell, Metcalf sell, Tarpanay I wouldn't sell. I'm considering it myself personally, but you're essentially wasting 2 trades. 1 trade if you go up to a keeper, but 2 if you're going down to someone else. Priced at 50, I think I projected him 57-ish. And he might have those lower minute games, but I think coming off the bye, I think they'll be slightly higher. He will have those lower minute games. Kalen Ponga, sell. King Tongia, sell. Couchman, obviously sell, but he's probably not out for the season now. We'll see. Purdue, sell. Aitken, up to you. We'll wait and see on injury stuff, if anything, any reports come out, but that probably comes out after the bye anyway, to be honest. Sandon Smith, sell. Hubner, sell. Riley Smith, sell. On Riley Smith, he's back next week. A lot of people are getting Talon De Silva. He's second on this list. I think he'll be good. I think he'll be in the team, but we'll have to see what happens with Riley Smith and then Joey Lussick and then Talon De Silva. Like, it doesn't make sense to have all three. So I would expect Riley Smith back in the team. They had started Joey Lussick recently over Riley Smith, so I expect him to be first choice. So Talon De Silva might miss out. Yeah, he's a cash down at the end of the day, so it doesn't really matter what happens to him. He's also got like a 40 break even, so you can probably wait a week. But if you just want to cash down, I think he is a good option. Garrick, yeah, I'd sell. Arthur's sell. Sharp sell. Kawamatangi keep. I don't know why the hell he's on this list, but yeah, not much excitement there. The only one I haven't really talked about that I would consider, like, you should be getting premiums, keepers, or cash downs this week and like moving forward. But I do really like Willison, and I'm very much considering doing it. It would probably be for Tarpanay. Whether I get him or not probably depends on if Haas is playing, because if Haas is not, I do need a mid, I do believe. And also, if Haas is out, Willison's ceiling goes up as well. So Corey Jensen's out for a couple of weeks with a blood clot. We obviously saw a 74 in 68 minutes, which won't continue those minutes, but I do actually expect the point per minute to continue. I did consider this guy last week, like, as an option. I recommended him as, I don't know, I can't remember, but he was on my list somewhere, just based on, I think it was like a 1 to 2 week flyer, but that looks like it's going to be a bit more now. The cash generation is real. Like, he probably does make a little bit of cash, maybe not a ton, but maybe he probably gets up to close to 600k, depending on how long he keeps the prop role. But yeah, that point per minute is sick. If he plays like 50 minutes, which is probably reasonable, he could easily average 55, which is keeper level. So yeah, I'm considering it. But if I go Tarpanay down to him, then I have to most likely trade Willison out to a keeper at some stage. So I'm using 2 trades there, and I don't really have anyone else. I could trade Adam Dewey now that he's back at centre, but I mean, I kind of want to keep him a week or two because his cash generation should be okay. And if there's an injury to Latu Fainu or Jerome Luai, or Luai's rested, then he's averaging 60 in the halves. So yeah, I don't think I'll get Willison, but yeah, he is one of the only mid-rangers I would consider this week for you guys. And that's it. I do have to head off now, so I hope you enjoyed that video. I was a bit rushed today because I am in a bit of a rush, but I hope you enjoyed it anyway. Good luck with your trades. I'll probably get a video out after work tomorrow, so a couple of hours before lockout with my updated trade plans. But yeah, we'll see what happens anyway. And yeah, we'll see you next time, guys. Bye.